Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today. So starting off with Euro USD as usual. So we had a little bit of a sell-off yesterday, and that was purely because of the ADP jobs number that came out yesterday, which was well below forecast. A bit of a shocker, but anyway, yeah, it wasn't a major sell-off, nothing like these sell-offs here, but yeah, it was a bit of a red bar at the moment. So we have found some structure. And as I said yesterday, we need to break through the zone, and then we're looking for this 119,670 area. At the moment, this is still a series of higher lows. And look at my oscillators grouping quite nicely. There's a lot of structure down here at 118,300. So if we come to the hour, you should see oscillators grouped nicely, bit of structure. Yes, it was a big sell-off over an hour, but what we have here is a little bit of a flag forming. There it is there. Okay, so I would be expecting a break up, a retest, and then a move back up to the top of this channel. Well, there's a bit of a channel, a bit of a messy channel. There it is there. That's the top of the channel. So yeah, I would expect us to move sort of up to there, or to the Fibonacci 61.8 or something like that. But that's definitely the structure I see at the moment. I don't see us dropping too far, and I don't see us going too high either. We've got quite a bit of data today, and then we've got non-farm payrolls tomorrow. So I suspect we're going to sort of just bounce around in this area until the end of the week. US dollar, Japanese yen, pretty much a similar scenario. You could see, we were looking for breaks down. We got the breaks down, and then immediately we had this big range bar based on the data coming in. For me, we have crossed over the moving averages on the 8 hours. So we're looking for support. You would expect a retest. Normally there's at least 3 retests of a break, and there was a break, 1, 2, here's a 3 1. So especially when you've been in a bigger trend, you can see the bigger trend was up, and now we're trying to do a trend change. So typically when that happens, it's very volatile. Right, so a bit of structure that is forming here, which is just telling me to stay far away from this. So firstly, we do have a gap up this morning. That will act as a magnet. You can see this gap here was a magnet. We came back past it. And then the second thing is we've got this gap down here. So we've got 2 gaps to the downside. We do have a bit of a crossover. However, we've got moving averages, the oscillators grouping to the upside in a bearish pattern. So yeah, where we are right now is the level I'd be paying attention to. So that is 109,684. Just look at price action here. We've got a solid green bar, then inside bar, range bar, inside bar. So pretty much these bars are all fitting inside this previous massive, could be an exhaustion bar. So that's the structure that I'd be paying attention to on this. Just bear in mind we've got lots of data coming out today. So if you look at the 15-minute, what you typically would be looking for here is get that in there. You get a breakdown here and a retest. It's a pretty decent setup for a short, at least to come and close a gap. And if that gets through, then you've got this level down here, 109,370 to play, and then you've got a really tight stop. So yeah, for me at the moment there is something brewing here, and it would be sort of a pullback, at least to come and test one of these moving averages. And this 155 is lined up quite nicely at this opening gap. So anyway, that's kind of the only structure that I can see there at the moment. British pound, Japanese yen, still mucking around inside in amongst these levels. We now have a crossover of our oscillators at the moment, and it does look like we're looking for an opportunity or an excuse to run to the upside at the moment. So moving down to the hour, you can see moving average is starting to group. We also have a gap. We've got 2 gaps here as well. So we've got a gap down here close 151,822, and then we've got an opening gap here as well at 152,084. So 2 gaps here. I I would expect them to close before I want to be looking to trade this. So this is sideways at the moment. Pull back down to this area here, 151.825, would potentially get me long. Just bear in mind there is a double top here, or double bottom, sorry, there's a double bottom there. So bottom, bottom, double bottom, there's a neckline. So you are looking at a move into the space here of 152.862. So nothing really concrete here, but it does look like we are sort of brewing. You've got these higher highs and higher lows here. So it does look like we're going to have some kind of a breakout to the upside, but then I would expect some kind of a pullback. The other thing that has happened here is we have a trendline break and retest in play as well. So yeah, maybe London breakout strategy is the one to play. Any move to the upside is what you're chasing. Any move to the downside, you're looking for structure to buy off. Just basically looking for this trend line to hold. That's moving on to Euro British Pound. So yesterday we had another continuation of the downside. Buys came in, last week. So you can see we had the structure come in. This week has been one-way traffic to the downside. We did have our oscillators indicate that by crossing over like this, far apart, and pretty much trend is down. So the trend is continuing to the downside. Yesterday we had pretty much what I said to you yesterday. One of these levels here would be able to sell off, and we did get a bit of a sell-off, and now we kind of just mucking around here again. London breakout would have worked yesterday. Just take the money and run. And today I would suggest the same thing. London breakout strategy. Wait for the first 7 1-hour bars. Break below. Get in. Take your targets. I would assume you're going to come and tag 0.85044. That's the area that I expect us to tag, and you can see the oscillators agreeing with that at the moment as well. So just get the 15 minutes, and you'll see some pretty good solid structure on the 15 minute as well. Okay, and this opening gap has closed already. So yeah, definitely be looking at London breakout here for a move to the downside. Your stop is going to be above the high of today, and just take profit early. Don't try and hold something forever, because that's not the nature of this beast. Anyway, that's it for me. Totally confusing day. Probably a day that's going to be spent sitting on my hands twiddling my thumbs, but rather that than lose money. Hope it helps, and we'll catch you later. Cheers for now.